Cast. Tonight LaRonda is going to sing one of Omi's songs, and so I'm going to turn it over to LaRonda.
Hi, welcome. This was written January the 12th. It doesn't say the year, but I'm sure it was in the 90s. This was written by my mom, Oma Shepherd, and it's called Waiting on the Other Side. One of these days before too long, I'll leave for my eternal home. A place where sorrow is unknown. There's no trouble or strife. Waiting on the other side.
Your volume's up.
Wow. Let's start that over again. How about it?
Okay.
That was me talking on our other phone. One of these days before too long, I'll leave for my eternal home. A place where sorrow is unknown. There's no trouble or strife. Wonderful place the Lord's prepared. Way up there, I know not where. If I go first, you'll find me there. Waiting on the other side. Waiting on the other side for you in that beautiful land. Coming down heaven's avenue, running to take your hand. For I want to be the first to greet you after your final flight. Look for me, for I will be waiting on the other side. Many friends and loved ones gone away to that land of endless day. I know I'll meet again someday when I cross over the tide. I'll tell them you're coming too. When your race on earth is through, we'll all be expecting you over on the other side. Waiting on the other side for you in that beautiful land. Coming down heaven's avenue, running to take your hand. For I want to be the first to greet you after your final flight. Look for me, for I will be waiting on the other side. Sword. That was Dad's part. But, I got to tell you a story. My dad passed away January the 12th of 2022. And he decided, I'm going to share something intimate with you. He decided to be cremated. And so at the funeral home are their very good friends of ours. And so one of my friends put a little sticky note right now on top of Dad's little box and said, "Hey, Oma, I'm waiting for you." So that song right there really tugs at my heart because I could lay right down and cry, but there's really no need to. Dad's way better off than any of us ever even thought about being. But I'm sure he'll look forward to the time when he sees Mom again, even though we really don't, we known as we're known, but we're not going to be married in heaven. But Dad will know Mom when she enters, and I'm sure all of our friends and family. We want to see Jesus first of all when we get there. But then we want to see all of our friends and loved ones that's gone on before us. So anyway, that's just a little bit of story of how that song is special. I picked it out last night to sing tonight. So anyway.
Idiot horsey.
Yep. We seen some horses tonight at CR, didn't we? And they's neighing, neigh. Me and Braden was neighing back at them.
So, what's the subject tonight again?
When you're married and
oh yeah, I remember now.
You deal with either a sick spouse or sick parents.
Okay, well, we've dealt with sick parents here recently.
Yeah.
And it was, I don't know that we ever did, we never did take the vehicle right away from your dad, did we?
No.
We didn't have to.
No, we didn't. He went down.
He went down so quick.
Yep.
But one of the things is with a spouse, we're getting to that age, I guess.
Well, we're not 80 yet.
We just feel like we're 80.
We feel like we're 80, but we're not. No, we're getting older. That's true.
Where that you have to, with a spouse or a um, parent, you may have to deal with some issues with them because of their declining condition. One of the first things you'll probably come across is needing to take a car away from them.
That's a hard one.
Yeah.
That really was hard on your dad.
Yeah, even though all the years he said, when I get that age, you need to take the car away from me. I remember how hard it was with my dad, and
Oh, it's so funny. Tell him what your dad did.
well,
For his dad.
it was back whenever he had a 74 LTD, and so he took the distributor out of it, and they just told him that it wouldn't start anymore.
Without it, it won't.
I guess you'd take the battery out of it.
He didn't lie. He didn't lie to you.
Or something of that nature. I'm sure there's some way of disabling a car
Yeah.
so that it won't start. But basically, I guess, when do you start? I know with Grandpa, Dad did that after he ran off the road into a ditch, and that he drove back up on the road, but it really damaged the car.
Yeah.
And then my dad, he started driving places and didn't remember going there because he was dehydrated.
Right.
And so that may be the first. Then you have problems with the next problem you have with them is they start falling.
Like my dad.
Well, and my dad.
And your dad.
Yeah.
He fell 3 or 4 times, didn't he? Dad Bob did.
Yeah, he was dehydrated each time.
Yeah.
I think that maybe they forget to drink, or
yeah, I think so.
He given up and just stopped drinking. I don't know what.
Stop eating and drinking.
What was causing it, but then you have to deal with, you take them to the hospital, and then the hospital won't keep them, but they're not safe at home because they're going to fall. And you're afraid they're going to hurt themselves again.
Yeah.
And then you've got to think about assisted living or the nursing home.
Yeah.
Usually, then they start falling enough that they'll put them in rehab in the nursing home until you can kind of, gives you about a month to figure it out.
To get them into the nursing home. Now my dad had cancer, but me and Tony didn't know it. He fell and broke his hip, and this broadcast is about, if you're married, how do you handle either a sick spouse or sick parents, which we have been dealing with parents. My dad passed 2 years ago, and then Dad Bob passed just months ago. Back in September. Was it September?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was September. And but my dad started leaving the refrigerator door open, and then he would leave the stove on high
after he cooked his eggs.
Or we would come home, and because he lived with me and Tony, and we would come home and the water in the bathroom would be running full blast, and he'd just be in there, sitting in his chair, but we didn't find out till after he broke his hip and then he was doing really good. He had surgery, hip replacement, broke his leg and his hip, and then me and Tony was just sitting in the living room, and we were watching a movie, and Dad was in his little man cave we had made for him. We heard him hit the ground, and he would just pass out, boom. And I would say, Dad, don't you know when it's happening? He'd say, Rhonda, I don't even feel it coming. But we found out after both those two things that in November, when he broke his leg, the doctor told him, he said, we see something under your rib cage and on your back, and we would like for you to have a PET scan. Because Dad had 2 bouts with lung cancer, 4th stage and a one stage, stage 1. And but after he broke his leg and everything, I think they told him he had cancer again, and it had come back, and but he didn't tell any of us. And then he said, "LaRonda, if I have that PET scan, I am I have cancer. I won't do anything about it." And I looked at him. I said, "Hey, let's not have the PET scan." And oh, it was like you guys, it was like a ton of bricks coming off of him. He was so excited that, so he had a wonderful last year of life. But we're talking about, what do you do? Well, he was so precious and so good with Dad. Dad loved Tony so much. And, you know, you said, if we would have known that your dad had cancer, we would have definitely kept him at home. He passed away from November to January the 12th. He passed away, and it was so quick, wasn't it, Tony? It was like he passed away, and
I mean, from November 12th to January.
Yeah, 2 months.
I thought you said January to November.
No, November to January, only 2 months, just 6 weeks, 8 weeks, something like that, and he just passed away. So we didn't really have to caregive Dad a whole lot. He took care of himself almost till the end, till he broke his leg, broke his hip. So as far as that goes, it didn't really put any stress on Tony or myself, because, the people would come there and give him exercises, and he was just such an easy person to live with. He wasn't.
Well, with my dad, I didn't see it.
You didn't see it, no.
I thought that he was capable of staying by himself. But you and Sissy kind of insisted that he go into assisted living, and then once he got in assisted living, he kept falling. Of course, and then.
And he fell 2-3 times at home though before that, a yard twice.
Well, yeah, but it was more often. I think it just became more often.
Yeah, I think so.
But
and it was just a blessing that he was in assisted living for all those falls that he had, because we would have the ambulance come and get him and stuff. Dad ball was so funny. The one fall he did while he was in assisted living, the guys came in and said, "What are you doing down on the floor?" He said, "But it's so comfortable. It's a nice, comfortable bed," is what Dad ball said to the guy. Or something like that, didn't he say? "It's just good and comfortable down here," or something like that. He was funny. He made jokes.
And then we've kind of come to realize, and Jordan Peterson talks about this, is it's hard for people when their parents, and I'm assuming spouses, have to go into the nursing home.
It was hard on Dad when Mom went.
Right.
It was very hard on him.
Yeah, he would call her every day, but that was because he couldn't see her because of COVID.
Yeah.
But me and you've talked in depth about that, and we kind of have seen that in people that aren't ready to come face to face with death,
right.
Which is kind of or their own mortality.
Yes.
Their own frailty.
Yeah.
To see themselves in there sometime in the future. And so it takes, I guess, a maturity. It takes a lot of introspect and a lot of getting to know yourself to.
Is that Terry?
To be able to, yes. Hi.
Hi, Terry.
Hey, Terry Warren.
Hi.
We're talking about what to do whenever your spouse or your parent goes into decline. It was amazing. Daryl and Terry
Liz.
And Terry's mom died within hours of each other, and they weren't they thinking of each other or something?
And she was thinking. She said, "Wouldn't that be something if me and Daryl walked hand in hand in heaven?" And they almost did. And they also, the last thing that they asked Terry and Aunt Liz asked Terry, and my dad asked me, was for a drink of Pepsi, and Dad couldn't swallow because he had a big cancer on his neck, and so Tony went down and bought him a Pepsi, and I took a swab and stuck it down in the Pepsi, and he said, "That's good," you
But
know.
but like I was saying, a lot of people have trouble whenever that they face mortality. I did nursing home ministry for 10 years, and you'd see these these little people who they never had any visitors,
I
and
know.
nobody seemed to. It was kind of like that we put them in a nursing home and then we forget about them, and but that's because that we whenever you go to a nursing home, you're facing your own mortality. You're seeing what the possibility is for you in the future, and you have to learn to mature. I believe you got to learn to deal with that in your psyche
Yeah.
to be able to you know be ready to face death, and I guess that's what your parents dying does, is get you ready to face death,
Yeah.
and you see them go through it intimately, and so you see then you're more prepared for that.
We got to tell him a giggle about mom and when what she said to the doctor in the ER. Now
Uh,
my mom's in the nursing home, and and so she got a UTI, and she wasn't thinking, you know how they do. It's almost like it gives them Alzheimer's if they've got a UTI. So we took her, and the doctor looked and said, "Miss Shepherd, do you have a DNR?" She's like, "I don't know. What's a DNR?" And he said, "That means if you have a heart attack or something, we don't bring you back." Mom said, "No, I want you to do everything you can to bring me back." That doctor laughed till he cried. He said, "Okay, Mrs. Shepherd,
well, she says that she's going to outlive all of us, and I believe her.
might do it.
At least as far as I'm concerned.
And Jesus is going to come back to get us all and take Mom with us too." But that was so funny because that guy wasn't expecting Mom to say that to him. "I want you to do everything you can to bring me back," she said. And I know, talking about this, because me and Tony usually has a really upbeat, light, kind of feel for the marriage cast. But you really and he's about to go to sleep. But really, truly, you've got to talk about what will we do if one of us gets sick. How will we deal with it, and if we have ailing parents. It's part of being married. And that's
Well, there's so many couples our age that are dealing with both.
They are.
One or the other, I guess, is a better way of putting it.
Yeah.
It's just that this age group deals with that, and so we thought that we would have a podcast on that.
Yeah, and because it's just part of life, and you know, as
I don't know. To me, I mean, you didn't have that problem, but to me, dealing with my dad's estate afterwards,
oh,
it was worse than
it's
dealing
terrible.
with putting him. It took longer too. I mean, he went downhill from June to September. And
Yeah.
dealing with somebody's estate, you don't realize. Even though he had his somewhat planned, I didn't realize that you could do other things so that you could just
Make it easier.
make it
Yeah.
easier. But you know, there's a lot involved in dealing
There is.
with estates.
I've learned a whole lot from it. Being with you and Cece and stuff. I've learned a whole lot, and from the lawyers and things.
Yeah, I guess that would be part of it. You kind of want to, if you see somebody that's in decline, you definitely want to start talking to attorneys.
Yeah.
And we did when Dad had already done estate planning, but then me and my sister started talking to attorneys whenever we got into the nursing home to figure out how to deal with estate planning, and it's probate is like a 6 month
Six months.
process, and involves an attorney. And I don't know. People have done it themselves, but I don't know how that they do it themselves. But
I don't know.
I guess they go before the judge and he walks them through it.
I guess. I don't know. We didn't really have to deal with that with Dad, or won't have to with Mom. If she goes by the way of the grave, she may not die until Jesus comes back. You know, he may come and get us before she passes away. But
you have to give the creditors a chance to be paid off, and tell you if there's anybody owes any money and that sort of thing.
Exactly. And the thing is how do you stay, one of my last questions would be for people who are thinking, oh my goodness, what if something happens, and say, like, I know Terry and Dave really took care of Liz at home,
Okay.
And so, how do you stay in? I wish Terry could be on here with us and say how that, I know Dave completely redid a bathroom for them, so Liz would be comfortable, and made her very comfortable, and I so appreciated hearing that.
And we had plans.
We did.
Because it was in October, we started
Here.
working on moving here.
Yes.
And we were going to have where your dad would have a shower walk in, a shower down here.
Yes. Bathroom and living room.
Yeah, and that sort of thing. And he could be on this floor, and then we'd be on the other floor.
And then we've got our basement door, now that he could have come in and out of.
Yeah,
so.
sure.
And so we had plans to move Dad in with us here at this house. He was in an apartment with us, 3-bedroom apartment where we used to live, and then we moved in here, and I mean, Tony had already planned out where he's putting a big walk-in shower and all that for Dad, but that it didn't happen that way. So he would have done the same thing as my cousin's husband did for her mom, and but anyway, we just wanted to share our experience so far. Like I said, my mom's in the nursing home, and we go see her. She has a memory that she doesn't know after you've been there. She doesn't know you've been there, but we know when we've been, So I try to go during the week. Tony and Braden goes with me on Sundays after church, after we go out for lunch. We go and stay with Mom. Tony goes to sleep.
Yeah, that's my sleep time.
It's his sleep time. Nap time, and I do Mom's nails.
But she surprisingly to me seems to know me very well.
She does.
And she has her good days and bad days, but her bad days she doesn't seem to be that incognitive.
No.
To me.
I think she just doesn't remember when people's there. She enjoys you while you're there tremendously. We sing together, and I do her nails, and we laugh and things.
Originally had the idea that we could let her and Loranda sing these songs that we open up with, and we're going to probably find out from her how to sing some of them.
Some of them I don't remember. I mean, the ones we taped I remember. All that's on our albums I remember, but she got 250 songs, so I'm going to have to figure out the tune to them, or either make a tune up, and that would be fine with Mom if I made a tune up. If we got our piano out, I could make tunes up, but
I filmed one, and then when I went to film the second one, she didn't seem to like the idea. So
yeah, she didn't. She didn't feel comfortable, I don't think.
No,
she said, "I sound like a hound dog now," and I said, "No, you don't."
Probably not a good idea.
Yeah, it made her uncomfortable, I think, don't you?
Right.
But that's really all I had. I just wanted to share mine and Tony's experience with our parents, and let you know, hang in there if you're dealing with a spouse.
It would probably be harder with a spouse.
I think so.
Well, because we saw with your dad, the separation was
bad.
Was very hard. Not as much on your mom. She thinks he's
still
in the other
alive.
room.
Yeah. They told us not to tell her any difference because it would hurt her, and she would have to she would have to endure that freshness over and over again.
Well, if you kept telling her,
Yeah, yeah. If you,
supposedly, hopefully, she would not remember it
yeah,
the first time.
she wouldn't.
But I don't know. If she remembers me and I came along after her
I
stroke,
know.
which is surprising me and Braden.
Yeah, she always knows you and Brady. So, but you know, if like you got sick or if I got sick, and you have been sick, you know, but I
am sick.
I know you are. I know you are. But I just meant, you know, I mean, I don't mind to take care of Tony, and I think if something happened that I got sick, he would take care of me. So, just don't let it stress you out. Just take one day at a time if that's what you're dealing with. And I think of that song, "One Day at a Time, Sweet Jesus. That's all I'm asking from you."
I guess that was a good thing about memory loss is you don't remember what you were like before.
Right.
But but there is, I have thought that I would help people that had went through occupational tragedies. Whenever you become disabled, your life changes completely. You lose. Most people view themselves, who they are by what they do, which is not true. I've learned to say you're not what you do, but most people do. I did whenever that I was, I had a job I really liked and felt, that I had responsibilities and titles and that sort of thing, and then you lose all that, and it's kind of like you feel like your life's over. But then it's not. You start realizing, kind of take a inventory of what you can do. I eventually was able to realize I could, there's some things I can do, and so
Absolutely.
I do what I can do instead of what I want to do, and that makes a difference.
It does. It really does.
And even though I push myself sometimes and shouldn't, but I pay for it the next day.
He does.
But here we go. Maybe that piqued her curiosity. When I quit teaching, I felt like I lost my identity. Yes,
that's true.
That's true. And so
yeah.
Whenever that I became disabled, it's like I felt like my life was over. Like I said, like because that's who I was. And I'm sure Terry felt like she was a teacher, and now she's
stays at home.
Mrs. Dave Warren.
Yes, and she helps take care of the little girl across the road too. So that kind of gives her.
Wasn't there an old lady across the road?
An old lady. She takes her shopping, and we go into a different service.
Yeah, and
it's kind of like we are in a different service.
She raises chickens.
Oh, Terry's got the sweetest chickens. Them little silkies are so cute. They are precious. No,
he gave Dave something to build for.
Exactly. They have the prettiest chicken houses you've ever seen. I'm telling you.
Made out of casket. Boxes.
Yeah, exactly. Katie wants to get up here, but then she kills me trying to get me. But no, we've changed. Like even from the prison ministry now to this. It's a change.
Yes.
It's a different change.
And it's transitional something. There's a psychological term whenever that you go through a transition, but it's transitional. I want to say defiance disorder, but you're fighting the transition. You don't want to transition.
Yeah.
But and so that's a part of it. I'm dealing with that right now, lack of sleep.
Yeah.
Because we ministered today with Celebrate Recovery, and then doing this all night long makes it difficult.
Yeah, we go from around 3:30 till about 10 as far as CR goes.
6 or 7 hours.
Yeah, about 6 or 7 hours at
and
church.
It's always been too much for me, really, because I'm not used to working that much at one time.
Right. And but I think it's God closed a door to open up a door for us to minister to you all through like about marriage, but then he ministers on the Waycast, and he studies Bible 3 or 4 hours a night before he does that. But that's what the Lord wants you to do. You know, I mean, He's made that clear. And so, as older couple, as you get older as couple, as married couple, you know, you even have to go through transitions because you think, oh, when we have children, and then oh, when we're empty nesters, and you know, there's so many transitions in a marriage, you know, and now you know we're transitioning into our latter years. The Lord promises us is going to be greater than our former. So we've got work to do for the kingdom. That's why we do what we do. It's not just to hear ourselves talk, and I cannot stand to see myself on the TV or on the screen. But we do it because we love you, and we want to minister to you in song, in you know things to try to help you out in life that we've been through because we've been married and divorced, and we can help you know things not to do. You know, as a young married person, I wished I would have been, you know, better in the home, better, you know. So you can't go back and redo, but you can go forward, you know. And then we have some other things to share later on about what the Lord's put in our hearts for summer camps for kids and things like that. So that's still in my heart really strong. So yeah.
You know, Lewis tonight said he was going to give somebody a 10-person tent, and I was like,
we want it.
Well,
We
he's
want
already going to give it to somebody. But,
okay.
But I was thinking, you know, I was
We
like,
need tents.
we would probably need tents for that. But
Yeah, because I would love to have a tent to set up for Bible study, and then small tents for the campers. So we've got a lot of plans for the future and to minister to children. So I look forward to that. We'll tell you more about that later, but I hope that we've been a help.
inner city kids.
I hope that we've been a help kind of telling you a little bit of how we've dealt with our loss of our dads and leading up to that, and you know, if it's a spouse or whatever, just don't give up hope, and get you a little dog like Katie, because she's so sweet. If she didn't pee and poo in the house, she's 3 years old, and no, she still has accidents. Look at her. She's like,
did you pee and poop in
say,
the house?
yes, I did. I'm ashamed. Oh, the shame of it all. We love you all.
There's nothing like dog shaming.
No, look at her. No, yeah, she's ashamed. She's a sweet girl now. A sweet girl. Yeah, is.
So we have to do the hard. That could be a podcast. How to deal with a pet.
Yeah.
I know that a lot of people have problems with the pets.
Yes.
It's probably worse than having kids.
It is.
It can really cause fights.
It can cause fights over animals.
If we weren't so easygoing, she would probably
out.
You know, she probably would divide us.
Yeah.
One of us would go.
Yeah, that's true. She's a sweet. I never had an inside dog till Katie. Never had one in my whole life, and she was a rescue dog, and somebody, you know, and she had been kept in a cage for most of her life because the lady was sickly and had other animals.
No, she was in a kennel all of her
She
life
was.
because she pees and poops on her.
That's probably true. We'll say that anyway.
If you keep her in the kennel until you let her out, she won't do that.
No, she won't.
But that's not really fair to her.
She's shaming. She's looking like I'm ashamed again. Don't tell my stuff on air.
guess that's what we can cover tomorrow night.
Yeah.
What do you think, Terry? You want to talk about Robin?
Yeah. What do you think, Terry, about Robin? What are you going to tell us about him? He eats blankets. They give him a toy and it's gone in an hour.
Well,
But she loves him.
We better not get into that.
Yeah, we're just being silly now.
So I guess this is like, subscribe, comment, share.
Ding ding.
Yes, hit the bell, the ding-a-ling.
Ding-a-ling, ding ding bell. Bing bing.
She didn't pick up on it. If you hit the bell, oh, Terry did.
Let's see what she said. Terry said.
Poops rainbows. Oh, after he eats blankets, Robin poops
blanket rainbows.
Rainbows. Okay, I got you. So
That's funny.
Just now at the Robin thing.
That's funny.
But hit the bell so you can get a notification and you can come on and harass us whenever we're live and ask us questions.
Please harass us. Yes, Annabelle's over here. She's telling you. Hit the bell, hit like, share, and
like
comment.
I said, LaRonda has Facebook, but I don't have Facebook. I got off of it years in January 2020. We were talking about that today, that we had this guy come and talk to us. You guys can look him up. It's David W. Roordan, the baker. And so he has a YouTube video, and he was on Facebook. He had like 7 million followers, and Facebook took his Facebook away from him.
They did. Mm-hmm.
He never did have anything but religious comments on it, and they told him basically they hated Christians. So I always tell you that, I don't know why you're on Facebook, because they're going to shadow ban you. But if you're going to be on there, at least share our podcast so it can be shadow banned.
Hopefully not.
Along with all the other posts you make.
Hopefully not.
But anyway, so we'll close with that.
Love you all.
Good night. Until we meet again. Adios. Au revoir. I'll be busy. And though it's always sweet sorrow to part, you know you'll always remain in my heart. Good night, sleep tight, and pleasant dreams to you. Here's a wish and a prayer, every dream comes true. And now till we meet again. Adios, au revoir, I'll be
Good night.
Alrighty, let's see.
Annabelle's still barking.
Flip my pen.